Good evening and welcome to the January 27, 2026 regular meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chad Brownovich and I serve as chairman of the board as well as the resident weatherman of the board as well, of Riverbend Township. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable and AT&T for making it possible for our viewers and our television audience, live stream audience. I would like to present our Gaston County Commissioners beginning on my far right.
Alan Fraley, Cherville Township.
Good evening, Scott Sheehan, Gastonia Township.
Jim Bailey, South Point Township.
Good evening, Kathy Cloninger, Dallas Township.
Bob Hovis, Crowders Mountain Township.
Good evening, Tom Kieger.
At this time, I would ask Commissioner Hovis to present us with the invocation and Commissioner Cloninger with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please remove your cover and stand in, please. Thank you.
Please bow with me. Gracious Father, we come to you to conduct the county's business tonight, ever thankful of our recent fortune in this snowstorm, sleet storm, ice storm. We're thinking about the folks in Tennessee who find themselves tonight with no power and sub-zero weather. Father, you continue to bless us and you continue to guide us and you continue to take care of us. We ask that you reach out to individuals all over Gaston County, especially one within the Sheriff's Department who had a tragic accident sledding during this opportunity of fellowship with their family. Father, give them healing, give them your touch, help them recover from their injuries. Father, we ask that you continue to bless us and bless us to do the right thing in your name. We ask that in Christ's name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda tonight is proclamations, commendations, awards, and certificate. I will now change just a little bit. I'll ask Commissioner Fraley to come down, and while he's on his way, he will be giving a commendation to JFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Awards and Special Recognitions. Mr. Fraley.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will Taylor please come up? Scott said he had a class tonight and you were going to be filling in. Anybody else that wants to come up? Come on up here a little bit. We'll get you on TV. Whereas the Budget Department has been awarded the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award by the Government Finance Officers Association for the FY 2026 adopted budget document. The award represents significant achievement by Gaston County, and whereas this award reflects the commitment of the governing body and staff to meet the highest principles of governmental budgeting to receive the budget award, Gaston County has to satisfy nationally recognized guidelines for effective budget presentation, and whereas Gaston County's budget document also receives special recognition for its long-range operating financial plans and strategic goals and strategies for the second year in a row. Special recognition is given when all three reviewers give the highest possible score in each particular category. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Gaston County Board of Commissioners congratulates Elizabeth McGee and the Budget Department upon being awarded the Government Finance Officers Association prestigious Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. That's a mouthful right there. For FY 2026 adopted budget document. Further, the Commission commends the staff for their stewardship in planning, developing, and implementing the annual budget to be adopted the 27th day of January 2026.
Scott conveniently had class tonight, so I'll say a couple words. Thank you, Commissioner Fraley. Thank you to all the commissioners for taking the time to recognize us. As you know, we're a mighty department of two, so we really appreciate you and all of your support during the process. We also really appreciate Adam and the communications staff. I don't have social media, but they must have put something out because even our sweet janitor said congratulations to me in the hallway. So the positive feedback's been really nice, and we appreciate it. I'm the one speaking right now, but this is really all because of Elizabeth. And this year in particular, she not only ran the process, she did all of the analysis, all the numbers, balancing the budget, and then also creating all the reports you received, the presentations you saw, and the budget book that we're receiving this award for. So it's all thanks to her, but we really appreciate it, and we're excited about the current budget process, and we'll see you all soon.
Well, you guys have, Taylor, you and Elizabeth have knocked it out of the park, so much better since Matt got out of your hair and moved to the manager's office. But I just wanted to say thank you to you guys. Obviously, it was a different year. Obviously had a child, and Elizabeth was doing things, and Matt was around trying to help get everything flowing. And you guys did such a tremendous job. We're very thankful as the staff of this board. We can't thank you guys enough. Now, we expect this every year. Expectations only rise. So thank you guys for what you do, and it is rewarded, but not with merit yet. We get to you. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is proclamations, commendations, awards, and certificates. Commissioner Krieger will now do a proclamation to proclaim month of February 2026 as Black History Month in Gaston County. Commissioner Krieger.
Thank you. The first proclamation that I'm going to present is to recognize February 2026 as Black History Month in Gaston County. And whereas February is Black History Month and is recognized throughout the United States as an opportunity to celebrate the historical and present achievements and contributions made by African Americans to the economic, cultural, and political development of our great country, the state of North Carolina, and our local communities. And whereas Black History Month early origins began in February 1926, when Negro History Week was established by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, a Harvard scholar and the son of a former slave. And whereas Dr. Woodson's legacy influenced the eventual shift from Negro History Week to a month-long celebration, later to be established in the mid-'70s and celebrated thereafter as Black History Month. And whereas this year marks the 62nd anniversary of the Civil Rights Act, which was first proposed by President John Kennedy in 1963, and eventually signed into law during the height of the American Civil Rights Movement on July 2nd, 1964, by President Lyndon Johnson. The legislation prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, and pave the way for future anti-discrimination legislation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners, in commemoration of this nationwide celebration, hereby proclaims February 2026 as Black History Month, and it will be adopted later in this meeting.
Commissioner Krieger will now do a proclamation to proclaim the month of January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in Hope United Survivor Network.
Folks, you're going to come up? Yeah. Whereas freedom, justice, and the pursuit of happiness are core American values, yet human trafficking continues to violate these rights within communities across the nation, including Gaston County. And whereas human trafficking, whether for labor, services, or commercial sex, is an organized criminal enterprise that exploits individuals and poses a significant public safety threat. And whereas victims are often individuals from vulnerable populations, including survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, immigrant communities, minors in foster care, and youth experiencing homelessness or instability. And whereas Gaston County continues to strengthen its response through coordinated efforts led by the Gaston County Family Justice Center, in partnership with law enforcement, the district attorney's office, public health, social services, the sheriff's office, Caramon Health, and community organizations. And whereas the continued leadership, education, and community engagement Gaston County can reduce the prevalence of human trafficking by promoting awareness, supporting survivors, and investigating in coordinated prevention efforts. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the month of January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and this too will be adopted later in this meeting. And I'll present this, and I guess you have a word to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, guys, Mr. Chairman and the board, on behalf of our community and the many individuals impacted by human trafficking, thank you for formally proclaiming January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Your recognition brings critical visibility to an issue that too often remains hidden and affirms this county's commitment to safety, dignity, and justice. We
Twenty-six, 2026. But wanted to make sure we had that. So February 26th, we'll reschedule that due to the inclement weather west of us. They had asked to change that. The next item is public hearings. The commission will now take citizens' comments for 2 public hearings. The citizens' comments will be taken following each issue. Zoning map change REZ-232, zoning map change REZ-234. Before we begin, let me outline the rules of procedure. Citizens wishing to make comment will be recognized by the chair, then asked to step to the microphone for their comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the record. Comments tonight are limited to 3 minutes. All questions shall be directed to the chair for response. The chair shall rule on all points of order. Do I hear a motion to go into public hearing? So moved. Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor? We are now in public hearing. The County Commission will take citizens' comments on public hearing, zoning map change, REZ-232, Home Buyers LLC. Jamie Invocation is the applicant. Ms. Jamie Leasy, Planner 1, Building and Development Services, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her overview, her comments and citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Leasy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ 25-07-11-00232 is a general rezoning request from Home Buyers LLC for parcel IDs 316422, 316423, and 316424 on Summerrow Road in Stanley. The applicants are looking to rezone from the R1 Single Family Zoning District to the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District. The subject property is located west of Stanley in the northeast quadrant of the county. These vacant lots are 0.68 or 0.69 acres in size and surrounded mainly by residential lots. The subject parcels are within a large residential pocket, mostly R1, but there are some R2 and RS20 pockets in the larger vicinity. The white areas on the map are Stanley city limits. As for the environmental features, the site has a gradual slope towards the back of the lot, and there is no flood designation on the property. These are the properties that were noticed for tonight's hearing. And this slide shows the addresses for those properties noticed in accordance with general statute. These lots will be serviced by a private well and septic system and is accessed off an NCDOT maintained road. This request is heard by the TRC. Environmental Health shared 3 septic permits for these lots, and the GCL-MPO stated there are no funded transportation projects in the immediate vicinity. There were no additional comments from building, natural resources, or public safety departments at this time. Staff received 1 phone call from a citizen concerned about septic and well contamination. Environmental Health reached out to them to provide more information. From a zoning standpoint, we look at the well and septic at the time of permitting. So regardless of the type of home developed, whether it was a manufactured home or a stick-built home, well and septic requirements are the same. So as for the comprehensive land use plan, the subject parcels are within Area 3, Northeast Riverfront Gaston Small Area Plan. These lots were relinquished from Stanley's ETJ and does not have a formal small use plan designation. Staff is comfortable using the rural community designation as it is consistent with the surrounding properties. Rural communities are areas that are largely rural with a number of residential buildings on smaller lots built closer to the roadway with a neighborhood look and feel. Staff finds this application as presented consistent with the goals of the Small Area 3 and future land use designation. The Planning Board heard this request at its January 5th meeting and recommended approval by a 7-0 vote. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is here today to speak.
Thank you, ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time who wishes to speak?
My name is Jamie Infanzin. I'm a resident of Gaston County and representing house buyers. I think it's just a typo. It said home buyers on there, but the last time it said house buyers. We predominantly find properties to help build affordable housing. And we have another property on that street that we're remodeling, and that's going to be for sale along with these properties. I just hope that you would vote for this so that we can help with the affordable housing issues that we have in the area. Do you have any questions for me?
If you'll just have a seat there while we go through this, and then if anybody has any questions, we can bring you right back up. Thank you. Any citizens wishing to comment on this matter at this time? Seeing none, any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing none as well. Since there are no additional comments, I will now declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the Planning Board and Zoning Board has unanimously recommended approval, finding it to be reasonable in the public interest and consistent with the goals of the comp plan. Do I hear a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Board's recommendation to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Mr. If we'll just give the consistency statement as we go along.
You just did it.
Want to make sure you just hand it to whenever we got it?
Yes,
Thank you. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change REZ-234, McLean Self-Storage LLC applicant. Ms. Peyton Wiggins, Planner 2, Building and Development Services, will provide an overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. REZ-234 is a general rezoning request from McLean Self-Storage LLC for PIDs 189-855, 189-856, and 221-533 in Belmont. The applicant is requesting to rezone from the county R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District with U.S. Urban Standards Overlay to the C3 General Commercial with U.S. Urban Standards Overlay. In total, the rezoning request is 11.42 acres among the three parcels. The subject sites are within a county pocket on the Belmont Peninsula off of Gaither Road. Currently, the site includes an outdoor storage facility and single-family dwelling with associated accessory structures. The residence, located at 298 Gaither Road, was constructed in 1940 and is currently occupied. Additional accessory structures on the property date back to 1960s, and one was constructed in 1985. Environmentally, the site is more flat toward Gaither Road and becomes more of an intense slope toward the rear property lines. As for zoning, the properties were previously split zoned between Gaston County's jurisdiction and the City of Belmont's ETJ, consisting of 3 zoning districts across the 2 jurisdictions, County R1, County C3, and Belmont RR. However, on December 1st, the Belmont City Council voted to relinquish its ETJ zoning on the rear portions of the property. As a result, the property owners are requesting to rezone the remaining portions of the parcels to the County C3 General Commercial District, rather than the default R1 Single Family and Limited designation. Approval of this request would establish consistent C3 zoning across all 3 parcels, and given the surrounding land uses and the presence of adjacent C3 zoning, staff does support this request. If approved, any uses allowed in the C3 General Commercial Zoning District would be permitted in accordance with standards and regulations as adopted in the UDO. This slide shows who was notified for tonight's public hearing. A sign was placed on site Monday, January 12th, and notices were mailed on the same day, all in accordance with general statutes. So far, we've received no phone calls or inquiries about this request. And this slide shows those who were notified. Currently, the subject sites are served by a private well and septic system, and the parcel's front Gaither Road, which is an NCDOT owned and maintained roadway. The Gaston County TRC reviewed this request on December 16th, and the following departments had no comments at this time: Building Inspections and Natural Resources. Environmental Health stated that PIDs 189855 and 189856 will have septic systems and wells that would need to be properly abandoned if the site were to be redeveloped. As for traffic impacts, according to NCDOT's State Transportation Improvement Program, or the STIP, there are no funded transportation improvement projects in the immediate vicinity of the site. However, the widening of South Point Road in C273 is included in the MPO's Comprehensive Transportation Plan with the typical cross-section for a 4-lane divided road with a minimum of 100-foot right-of-way. Currently, the right-of-way is 60 feet, and this project has not yet received funding. The CTP also shows recommended bicycle, sidewalk, and a multi-use path facility improvements along South Point Road, but these are also unfunded at this time. This property falls within Area 4, the Garden Gaston Southeast Gaston Small Area Plan within the Comprehensive Land Use Plan. The future land use designation is suburban development, and this designation consists of significant single-family residential areas that exist around commercial pockets, representing standard suburban centered. Staff finds this application as presented is consistent with the goals and future land use designation, and the Planning Board heard this request at its regular January meeting and recommended approval by a unanimous 7-0 vote. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Thank you, ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, good evening. I'm John Russell. I'm a lawyer with Mlan, Holland & Cooper. My business address is 301 South York Street in Gastonia. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, McLean Self-Storage, Trip McLean, who is here, resident of Cramerton in Gaston County, local home builder and business person. We also have civil engineer Johnny Denton, who worked on this commercial site that you saw briefly in Peyton's presentation, and Joseph Jody Alm with the Gaston County Stormwater Management Program, in case council would have any questions about the site, the topography, or water issues. The purpose of this request, I just want to see if I can, is you can drive for me. Thanks, Peyton.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to put up the zoning piece. Really the purpose is to, the history of this is it's a dual or split zoning. It goes back to the dates of ETJ. What our research found is that slanted line that you saw Belmont did zoned and brought into the ETJ up to an old utility easement and stopped there. The significance of ETJ, of course, has been drastically minimized with the advent of county zoning and the elimination of involuntary annexation. So we went to Belmont last month and told them that sort of the long-term plan is to expand the commercial use, the commercial pocket, the self-storage facility, but doing that really required trying to get a consistency across the 3 properties, and so they agreed to release the ETJ, and so we're in part here tonight to try to follow up on that release to have some consistency on the zoning. Peyton mentioned a comprehensive land use plan. This area of the county is developed with sort of commercial pockets, as she mentioned, with a lot of residential around there. If you go a little bit to the north, you have the Harris Teeter property with a lot of out parcels and some office space there. To the south, about a mile or 2 miles, is a Dollar General. There's a restaurant, the South Point Social property, and some additional storage. These areas, I had some photos, but unfortunately didn't make it through today. But Tripp's got generally a high-end product. It's an all-brick facing self-storage. It's supportive of the residential areas that are around it in terms of providing storage needs. There is not a current plan for development, which is why we don't have a site plan for you. It's very much a market-driven business. And so as that market develops, as the residential continues to come, then there is a plan to eventually expand the C3. Some of the detention and prep work has been done already. And again, we're happy to have the civil engineer answer questions on that. So appreciate you all hearing us. If you have any questions, we're happy to address them.
Thank you, sir. Any citizens wishing to make comment at this time? Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Russell, I don't know if this is something to pose to you or maybe Mr. Williams. I know you just mentioned that you feel like the intent potentially would be for expansion of the facility. I mean, is that firm? Is that kind of concrete? Is that pure speculation? I know it's all dependent upon growth and different factors. But if that is the intent, do we have any idea as to how many additional units that would allow on this amount of acreage?
Do either of you want to speak to it? It is not, Mr. Sheehan, specifically designed partly because there have been so many different zoning districts that we're in. We're in the city of Belmont, we're in Gaston County in 2 districts, so you can't really design that yet. But I think there's a general concept, right, Johnny?
It would depend on what the market would ask for. He's got a mix of a couple different types of storage out there, and it would depend on the footprint. It would potentially double in size if he went with the same general uses.
What plan would you have in place for handling the stormwater off that amount of impervious surface?
So the first phase of the project was Belmont gave up that jurisdiction to allow us to work within the county. So we did water quality. We also did, on top of that, we also did detention. That's my personal preference. I didn't really give Tripp an option there because of the sensitivity of the downstream area. So the existing pond is functioning as a sediment pond now because he's still got some denuded. It will eventually be converted into a sand filter system for stormwater quality, and it will do a 2 and 10 detention on top of that.
Will there be an additional pond, or that one will just be expanded?
That all depends on the layout. There'll either be an additional pond or that pond will expand towards the east. Or no, towards the west, I'm sorry. It will expand towards the west.
Do we know what the current acreage is of the existing facility as it sits now?
What do you think?
What part has buildings on it is about 8 acres. But I do intend to expand the facility the same as it is to answer your question. So that is my intention.
So we got, what, about 11 acres impervious, something in that range? About 11 acres total impervious. There's a large pond behind there, it does detain the 2 and the 10-year event.
We have some photos, if I could hand those to the clerk, that might illustrate what's out there now.
Motion to accept for information.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Any further development other than what's already there would require an application and would go under full site review in terms of stormwater requirements. The stormwater site plan would have to be created, taking the existing site into consideration to make sure that mitigation doesn't have a negative impact on the watershed, correct?
100%.
Thank you. That's the only question.
Thank you.
I just wanted to chime in just while we're waiting to see all the pictures, but I want to say thank you to Mr. McLean. Like I said, one of the biggest issues people have is aesthetics. And that place, you've lived up to your name on what's going on out there, so we're very happy with what that is. And I know back and forth between the ETJs, It's the worst thing that we get involved in when you think about zoning issues. So I just want to say thank you for that. Any other questions? Commissioner Bailey?
Yes, I just wanted to, I guess probably maybe repeat some of the stuff, because I have been contacted by a few of the landowners surrounding it. I think we've talked briefly. I was told that during some of the storms that they had had, and then I found out that it was prior to some of these stormwater drain stuff being put in, that some of their property was being flooded. And now, I guess what you're saying, I just wanted to make it clear in my mind, if any further expansion, the stormwater equipment and everything will be suitable to the expansion, correct?
So initially when that pond was installed, so there was multiple drainage patterns along the back of this property. And initially when it was installed, it discharged into one. That has since been corrected. Tripp took some extra money and extra time to go out there because there was a residence downstream. And I don't want to get into the weeds or anything, but it had drainage problems before we got there, to be honest. Tripp spent some money and time. We did a redesign, and we directed that across his property to a different drainage pattern to accommodate that. We were discharging it into a drainage pattern. I mean, it was perfectly defined, a blue line stream on a USGS map. It just happened to run through this guy's backyard. Now, how that house got there, I don't know, but nonetheless, we took corrective action to mitigate that issue and discharge it in a completely different pattern. And that's where all the water from this area goes now. Future expansion, if it goes in a different pond or if it goes in this pond, it'll continue to go around that subject property.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Keeger?
Yeah, I don't have a technical question. I think they've been answered. But I drove down there recently. It's been a while since I've been down there, and I guess several of you were on the board when we first approved the self-storage. And I have to say, it's one of the prettiest commercial sites in the county, and I wish everybody, followed that footprint in the future. But the landscaping, the entrance, the buildings that you can see, they're just impeccable, and I will be voting to approve this.
Commissioner Hovis? If there are no additional comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Just to recap, the Planning and Zoning Board recommend approval by a 7-0 vote, finding it reasonable in the public interest and consistent with the goals of the comp plan. Do I hear a motion to accept the Planning Board and Zoning Board's recommendation to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Thank you. This concludes tonight's public hearing. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the business agenda. Are there any revisions or anything to be added to the business agenda to be pulled? Hearing none. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Keeger. All in favor? All opposed? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Approval of the minutes. You're provided a draft minutes for the regular meeting of 11/17/25. Are there any revisions? Do I hear a motion to approve minutes as presented? Motion made by Commissioner Fraley, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Citizens' recognitions. Our next item is citizens' recognition. A portion of the board's agenda is set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens an opportunity to offer comments and suggestions. The comment period is not intended to require the commission or staff to answer any questions or provide a response. Questions requiring a response shall be answered as soon as possible through the Gaston County Manager's office. Citizens tonight will be recognition for 3 minutes. After I call your name, please step to the podium and state your name and address for the citizens to hear and as you speak. First item is Joshua Brown.
Joshua Brown, 1149 Knowles Drive, Mount Holly, North Carolina, 28120. Mr. Commissioner and fellow commissioners, thank you again for letting me speak. Continuously, as we've continued to talk about, the Gaston County Fire Service manpower has been a very, very important thing. Couple situations just to bring light again, just as we move forward with this, because this will continue to happen as we continue to populate with this county. December 3rd, trailer fire happened off Dallas High Shoals Highway. Male subject was trapped in his room. Fire was at the under the trailer. Firefighters got there and were able to get him out of the bed and onto the floor, but had to wait until more apparatus could get there with more manpower to then be able to cut the window out of the house to pull him out. That male subject succumbed to his injuries and died. Additional manpower, what would that have been? 2 more people could have been there to self-extricate that window frame to allow them to drag that person out, instead of those 2 firefighters being inside that room with that gentleman telling him, it's going to be okay, we're going to get you out of here, and that wasn't able to happen. December 29th, Black Snake Road, structure fire in Lucia River Bend's Fire District. What is additional manpower staffing? The initial companies came out with their 2. That's a driver and a firefighter. More staffing allows us to bring more tankers. I stood in the front yard for 20 minutes waiting for additional tankers to get there and watch this house burn. When I first got there, we had to dedicate resources from the first driving companies to do CPR on the male subject laying in the front yard after his wife and caregiver had drug him from the house. Very helpless feeling standing there watching that while we're trying to give aid to this, but also watching this fire burn down. What is manpower? It's additional trucks being able to get on the road quicker and sooner so we can get water to the fire scene to get the fire put out, to have the manpower there to do patient care if we have to. December 26th and December 31st. City of Gastonia has two alarm structure fires in the city that deplete their entire city of resources. Who does the City of Gastonia call to cover the city when they're tied up? Unincorporated fire departments had to leave their area to come into the City of Gastonia. There's not a municipality in this county, other than in the small center city of Gastonia, that they don't rely on an unincorporated fire department to provide manpower to their citizens in their incorporated areas. Cherryville, Stanley, Dallas, Cramerton, Belmont, Mount Holly, all of them require these unincorporated fire departments to increase their staffing levels to get there. What does the increased staffing levels provide? ISO ratings. Everything we're working for is to decrease our ISO ratings. It saves homeowners and also commercial properties premiums on their insurance and everything. And all of these numbers from these municipal and also unincorporated fire departments, we rely on each other to provide staffing and everything. Yes, do most of the municipalities have more staffing than us? Yes, absolutely. Does it help us a lot to keep our ISO ratings lower? Yes, absolutely. But also don't forget that whenever they're having that same situation, they're relying on us to help them to provide manpower and trucks going, with that. Thank you for your time.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as given? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Sheehan. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The next item is the non-consent agenda. I have one item, Public Works, introduction of the ordinance reforming parking regulations on county-owned property, Chapter 16 of the Gaston County Code of Ordinance. I will now call on, Mr. Goldberg.
Commissioners, this is a proposed ordinance regarding enforcement of parking. It doesn't speak to a specific parking scheme or meters or anything like that. That's not been decided on yet. It just, when that occurs, this is how it will be enforced. Because it doesn't include the possibility of some sort of criminal enforcement, infraction up to $50. State law requires that it be introduced in one regular meeting and to be voted on at a subsequent meeting. So there's no vote necessary this time.
Will we be getting a outline document of the things that are proposed anytime in the before the next meeting?
I would refer to our esteemable Assistant County Manager who can speak to what those specifics may look like.
Ask me the question again. What are you looking for?
Will there be any bullet points or noted outline details that are going to be sent to the board so we could look over before the next meeting?
We certainly can. As to what all the requirements are going to be inside the ordinance or what is going to be changed to it, absolutely. Yes, I can provide that to everyone.
Just to keep everybody abreast of what's going on as we go forward, to make sure everybody's in tune with that. Thank
Okay,
you so
be
much
glad
for your
to.
comments, sir. You didn't have to. Oh, Commissioner Keeger.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I did want to ask a question. I don't want to pull anything.
ahead.
But just one quick question while our finance folks are here. Item W on the consent agenda, Mr. Hova sponsored, was to appropriate accumulated interest from investment earnings. Any idea off the top of your head what those investments were? Where we got that money from? You know that one, Matt?
$57,726.
I can't
I'm
speak
just
to
curious
that
where
one
we got it from.
specifically, but most of our money is in the trust, community trust. So that's where the majority of our money and investments are coming on. We're also buying short-term securities, so could be there, but obviously anything allowable under North Carolina state law for.
So it could be more than one.
Yes, it's probably more than
It's
one.
a mixing of
It's an
funds.
aggregate, yeah.
Thank you.
I think, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
in reference to Mr. Skiba's report to the ordinance that we had our first reading of and all that, I'm assuming that the 3 pages attached to the ordinance were the schedule of details about how we're gonna handle that, correct? You went back too quick, sir, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
We'll get your exercise.
So the ordinance that's provided, essentially, we're wiping away the old ordinance, wiping it clean. Everything that we have is going away, and what you have before you is the new language for the new ordinance. Yes. We tried to make it as simplistic as possible, and then we will work from there as far as how we're going to take payments, what kind of system we're going to have there. I wanted to ensure that y'all wanted to move forward with actually doing the ordinance before we put too much forward and the equipment and everything else that we're going to purchase to go over there.
I noticed in reading that, there was comment about time limits and things there, but there was no schedule of time limits or marking of individual spaces with certain time limits.
So the way that we're wanting to approach it is we're wanting to do away with all of our permitted spots that we have there currently. There'll be no more of all the signs you see there in the parking lot.
Correct.
We will allow people to come into the space. We're hoping to have a system that has no gate. That way we don't have to worry about the gate being hit by cars or cars hitting the gate. You will come into the parking space. We're going to allow for 30 minutes of time that you do not have to pay, that you will come in, you will be able to do your business. So if you've got something that you need to run into the courthouse or run into the Register of Deeds to do your business, you will do that without having to pay. And then after that, there will be a fee, and then we will put a max time. So let's say that you're there all day, and there'll be a max of $12 you would pay for the entire day.
Okay. I'm just saying,
Yes, sir.
I thought you were trying to tell us that.
I just like seeing you stand there.
Yeah, thank you.
Items pulled from the consent agenda. No items were pulled tonight. No items were added. Appointments. Commissioner Fraley.
We got two, Mr. Chairman. Got a reappointment to Environmental Review Advisory Board, Mr. Jeff Howell Jr., and got a new appointment for LEPC, Local Emergency Planning Committee, Matthew Johnson.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two, one for the Gaston County Fire Commission, application received from a Brian Falls. Second, for Economic Development Commission, application received from a Stephanie Franks.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Bailey.
Yes, I have two applications received from Bill Lee for the Gaston County Fire Commission, and one for Environmental Review Advisory Board for Mr. Jason Cloninger.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Cloninger.
I have a reappointment for Scott Wyatt at the Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Seconded by Commissioner Fraley. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 new appointments to the Gaston Community Action Board of Trustees, Mr. George Fullwood Jr., and to the Gaston County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, Mr. Chris Ewan.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kieger. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Kieger.
Samantha Dye for reappointment to the LEPC, representing the Health and Human Service.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Fraley. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. I have one for the Historic Preservation Commission, application received for Mr. Robert Delaney.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. I have a full board appointment for the Partners Health Management, Paula Atkins, recommended for Partners Health Management appointment. Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Just for everybody's knowledge, we have 2 chair appointments, and I'm looking for those. Central Islands Council of Government, we have a vacancy for an alternate in that, and we also have one for the Transportation Advisory Committee. Really, really big one there. Be the voting member. If anybody ever wants to do that, please let me know by the next meeting. Reports, Commissioner Fraley. Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real briefly, just want to touch on this inclement weather we just experienced. Hope everyone remains safe. I think as a county as a whole, we fared very well. I know he doesn't like to hear it, but Mr. Wong, I want to congratulate you for a job well done, sir. I think all the preparations that you did really showcased our ability to care for our citizens and to be proactive, and I was very pleased. I know it's been a daunting task over the last week, and it looks like you might get round 2 this weekend. So that was a good practice run for you, but great job. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Bailey. Let's go after that. Commissioner Cloninger.
No reports.
Mr. Hovis.
I have none, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kieger.
None.
Well, I want to take the sentiments that Commissioner Sheehan talked about with emergency management. Vincent didn't get much sleep. Chief, you did a great job with everything. But I want to say something to the staff. I was here all week last week, and I saw something that happened. County Manager, Assistant County Manager Skiba was working over a different task, and I was really honored to watch what was happening to put people in place, and we were talking about. So I want us to start looking at something that was kind of overstepped about maybe trying to work on something after this and putting natural gas into that building over there. I think that's something we need to really look at, because some of the things that happened, and also trying to find a way to, whether it be Ray and Brian and Dan, to figure out a way to get gas. It was a big task. Obviously, it did take on what we thought it would be, but to see everybody working and doing that, and then Monday, Dan, your guys knocked it out of the ballpark. I don't know if you guys got to see something, but the parking lot across the street in the admin building is not our parking lot. And so we had to end up going in after it was kind of refrozen over and everything. And those guys did a bang-up job for the people to get there. So Dan, Ray, you guys, Brian, thank you for everything that you guys really went out. And it's probably the best job I've seen. Mark, yours too. I forgot you sat back here with your Under Armour. But it's not very often that we get to look at something that happens and you say, okay, it was great. You know, it was a great event. Now you got round 2. Let's see if we can back it up to this week. So I want to make sure we start putting things in task and doing things, because it was a very daunting task for, I'd never seen by Friday the way this was frantic. Everybody was moving and getting it done, and we worked to perfection. So I want to thank you guys for that.
Question.
Mr. Hovis.
Question, what buildings were you referring to about gas? I'm sorry.
The admin building. We have, it started out as, Brian, get up here. It started out as with IT, and how long we have in order to keep our records before something gets destroyed. We turn it off, turn the switch. Go ahead and tell them, Brian.
So what the chairman is alluding to is all of our generators, bar 1, is are diesel. And so looking to switch over our generators to a natural gas capacity, that way we don't have to worry about trying to fuel or get fuel out, because that was one of the major hurdles that we were trying to oversee this week, was trying to get fuel to those places. And so trying to see what it's going to take to switch us over to natural gas, that way we don't have to worry about that.
So much so that we got turned down by one.
We did get turned down by one.
And so it was just, you know, it was just really to see the wheels in motion. I thought was really good to see
And I will-
everybody doing that.
I want to say that it wasn't just us as well here. We got to think about too, we got cooperation from the city of Gastonia for letting us be able to tap into their fuel resources, and also the county school system let us have a fueling truck that was stationed out at the CRC. So kudos to them too for joining in with us and helping to prepare us and the citizens for the event.
And I guess my whole thing, I was just trying to say, I want us to start thinking about down the road how we get prepared for that stuff. Because seeing that happen in real time and what was going on, I think the guy told you, why are you calling me so late on a Friday to try to get fuel? And we were trying to figure out everything. It was crazy. So thank you guys and what you guys do. First responders, great week. Can't complain enough about that. Other matters. Commissioner Bailey.
Yes. Just have something to say as a commissioner. Not actually speaking for the entire board, I'm speaking for myself. My background spans over 45 years, almost 45 years, in federal, state, and local military and law enforcement. And I've received a number of emails wanting the commissioners to denounce ICE's operations throughout the country. And I'm not going to do that, okay? Everyone in here, doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, you have the right to peacefully assemble under the Constitution of the United States. You cannot violate someone else's constitutional rights of freedom of movement. You can also not violate law enforcement's rules and regulations for them to arrest or take into custody someone who has broken the law. Doesn't matter if it's federal law or state law. Everyone in here has the right to do what they want to do, as long as it doesn't violate those laws. Law enforcement has a job. The military has its job. It doesn't matter if you're federal, state, or local. I would urge all the local law enforcement to help each other, your brothers in arms, in state and federal, to do their jobs. Okay? Some of the things that's happened, they're being investigated. Let all the information come out. Don't jump to conclusions. Okay? I support everybody in military. I support everybody in law enforcement. I don't care what level. Okay? We all need to work together. I see some people in here that has been past military, current law enforcement, and public safety. I stand behind you 110%. And the people that are violating federal law will be arrested. The one thing I can say about the immigration system, we have federal immigration laws. A lot of people in this country has violated those. At this time, our government is getting I guess they're calling the worst of the worst out of this country. Okay? The guys on the ground is following their directives. They're not doing anything to go out and try to hurt people. They're following their boss's rules. So don't point at the officers and blame them, okay? They're doing their job. Is it a possibility that they could do something wrong? We're all human. We all make mistakes, okay? Let the investigations go where they're going, see what the outcomes of them are, and let the judicial system do their job. Everything else, law enforcement has a job, and I'll repeat this again. Do not stand in front of a police officer with a gun in your hand and tell them they're not going to do anything, because it's not going to turn out well. I promise you that.
Any other matters before this board at this time? Seeing none, this concludes tonight's meeting for tonight. Our next work session is scheduled for Tuesday, February 10th, but we're just going to move that correctly, to the 26th, the Thursday, I'm sorry? Yeah, the work session we're gonna cancel for the 26th. So,
What's the dollar been sitting there for?
cancel it on the 10th, and we're gonna reschedule it for the 26th of 26, which is a Thursday night, in the Harley B. Gaston Jr. Public Forum. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please remit those to Donna S. Buff at 704-866-3196. Good night, Fern.